belief to me is just always having that little hope or faith no matter what happens.
Belief for me growing up was nothing. I didn't understand the concept, and then when I got here, belief now, I guess I would define it as just a truth that I don't have any doubt about. And in the moments that I do have doubt about, I know where to go to get rid of it.
Faith is a word, it's a human word, you know, just like everything else is human. Faith is something that I have faith in myself. I don't have faith in anything else.
Faith is what they call that inner event that testifies to the truth of what they're doing.
My name is Enerida, Ademi. My baptismal name is Teresa. I took that after Mother Teresa. I go to Fairfield University. I am from Corcha, Albania. Then I moved in 2001 to Waterbury, Connecticut, and now I live in Wethersfield, Connecticut. I converted from Islam to Catholicism. I didn't know anything about a Jesus back then. I didn't know. We just talked about Allah, and we had a Quran in the house. I started learning about Jesus, went through the little Catholic church. I was little, and we just made our way up there. It was just, just given handed a Bible, and it's something to believe in. We go back to the belief question. It's just, you take that, and as a little kid, you're like, what is this? And then they explain it to you, and you're like, wow. Things like that happen, like things like that exist, because it's so foreign to what I was raised to believe, So, yes, my mom is, like I said, she's the one who's been most really religious and expressed in Islamic faith through little things like little prayers when we used to get up or go to school. She celebrated certain things, like she fasted, she did Bayram. There's Eid Mubarak, which is what Islam say. That's how you say, like, Happy Bayram. And 3 years ago, I went through personal trauma in my life, and like I said, I always believed in a God. I always had this faith connection, but it was just the fact that I almost died and had to be revived back to life. That was just, there has to be a God, and I must have a purpose here on earth. And I just had this yearning. I'm like, I have to become Catholic, and I just need to convert. And then the only possible way I could do that was coming to Fairfield through our church here. But it was just, yeah, I have to say it was the trauma experience that I went through. So, like I said, when I decided to convert, I came to campus ministry. I spoke with Father Duty. At the time, he was head of campus ministry. And, I said, Father Duty, like, hi, I'm Enerida, Ademi. Like, I went through I talked to him about what I went through, and I said, well, I really have this awakening that I really want to convert. He said, okay, that's great. We have an RCIA class. I forgot what it stands for, but it's an RCIA class here on campus ministry. There was a few other students, and it's actually open to the public, so adults could do it. So a lot of them were just doing confirmation. I was the only one getting baptized. So I learned from them, and I learned a lot. So we met each week, and we read different things, and we learned about the Bible, learned about the church. I learned about the Passion of the Cross, the journey and things like that. And then I got baptized. We had to pick a sponsor, and I picked Laura because I had a connection with her. We talked about different things, and she answered a lot of my questions. I figured, why not ask her?
For most people, I think, it becomes an opportunity to question and to investigate whether the religious values that they were brought up with, if they were brought up with religious values explicitly, are true for them, are meaningful to them.
Yeah, my name's Nicole and I'm a senior, class of 2013. My father was raised in a Jewish family, and my mother was raised in a Catholic family. And they met here at Fairfield, and they both kind of lost touch with their spirituality, I guess you could say, so they decided to raise my older brothers and I without any concrete religion. We didn't talk about God or spiritual life in my family at all. My brothers were baptized, but my mom, by the time I was born 5 years later, decided that that was kind of a lie because she wasn't really raising us in the church. So she just left it up to us. I think I felt a lot like my parents thought that, like, belief was a little bit naive, a little bit, like, undereducated. And I was always afraid to come off as being, like, slow, I guess. So I had a lot of fear about it, but I started to talk with people about it. I met a friend named Matt, and I started to talk to him about it, and I was like, look, I don't know what I'm talking about, so, like, I'm going to say things wrong. And he was very comfortable with that, and kind of pulled it out of me, and he was like, Nicole, like, you believe in this, you just are like afraid to believe in it. That same friend, he was like, have you ever heard of RCIA? Like, it's a possibility. And I Googled it and I was like, this seems cool, but whatever. And then we went to Mass the next day, and Father Duty, during the announcements, was like, we're offering the rites of Catholic initiation. And I was like, okay, like, that's too much of a coincidence for me to ignore. So I did RCIA for a full year during my sophomore year, and then received all my sacraments at the end of that year. That night is still one of like the most incredible nights of my life. I had to buy a white dress, and I still hadn't bought it, so I like went out with my friends. It was like very like, it was cool because like all 7 of my girlfriends were like, let's go buy a dress. And then we walked over to the chapel, and that's when I started to get really nervous. And then I got like so excited I started to cry. I'm a big crier. And I was sitting in the front row, you know, the chairs that nobody ever sits in at church, and Matt was sitting right behind me. And I started to cry, and he could tell, and he like put his hand on my shoulder. And that moment was kind of like, okay, like, I have support in this. I turned around for the sign of the peace, and my mom was standing there and was like, peace be with you. And that was like really important because my mom had totally lost touch with her faith, and it was really cool for me that she came into the chapel and like went to Mass just to be there to support me. So it was like an incredible moment. It got to the point where it was like time to be baptized, and you know, you like lean over the font. And Father Duty, the day before, I had asked him if I should put my hair up so it would stay out of the water, and he laughed at me, and then he dumped the water all over my hair and totally ruined my hair. And then Matt was like all flustered with the washcloth that he was supposed to like help me, and it was like, it was really funny, and people were laughing, and I was like, okay, like, I like the comfort of this, that it's like a happy occasion and not like really serious. And now I'm Catholic. I'm just a happier person. I feel more connected to a lot of people around me. Just don't feel as alone anymore. And that kind of peace within myself has been the greatest gift I've gotten out of the discovery of my faith. It's easy for me, especially because it's so new, to get caught up in the stress of school or in the like really tough stuff that happens. It's easy to get lost in it. But I feel like every once in a while I just need to like, you know, I'll touch my cross or something and remind myself to take a minute and stop, and through a lot of prayer, bring myself back to that feeling of peacefulness that I get out of my faith.
Well, this is the age at which people in our culture, I think, really enter into adulthood. In our culture, it tends to be late teens, early 20s when people start to begin to negotiate their own sense of identity, their own sense of self, what their life means. They have a sense that their values don't have to directly mimic the values of their parents. They might find that their own experience of the world differs from things they were taught as they grew up. And it's a time at which people come to form a real sense of themselves as unique persons. So it's not surprising that this happens religiously too. It happens with people's politics, it happens with their worldviews, with their personal philosophies of life, and one would think that it would happen religiously too.
My name is Frieri, and I'm from Bronx, New York. I'm a tattoo artist in New York City. I went from Roman Catholic to Buddhism. Well, I was born and raised Roman Catholic, and I was baptized, confirmed, all the 9 yards. Being Italian, I think that it's one of those things that it's kind of like, it's the only religion out there, so there's really no choice. And then through the years, I seen all this stuff happening to the church, all this bad stuff happening to the church, and I wasn't feeling it. I wanted to be holy, I wanted to pertain to something, but I didn't feel that Roman Catholic was the way to go. So I did some research, and I always had something within Buddhism with the whole meditation, the whole self is first, and that's how I got into actually studying it and performing it and meditating and just learning everything that has to do with basically the foundation of Buddhism. My mother lost faith, and so my mother she doesn't believe in anything. It's me who kind of was like turned into Buddhism. Like my sister was born and raised just the way I am, and she's basically an atheist. She doesn't believe in anything. You know, my mother believes in God. She says her prayers, but not to the conformed union of the church. a lot of my friends thought it was kind of like I was going to be like a Buddhist monk. Like that's their thing of Buddhism. It's, you know, free Tibet, all the, you know, golden robes and with the red and shaved head and, you know, go vegan. And no, it's not that at all. It's been a real journey. Buddhism definitely makes you think outside the box, makes you look inside the box. It just puts you in a place that it's comfort. It's kind of like home. It's like when you've been traveling for 3 years and just finally come home and you're happy. You're happy in your skin. You see people different. You feel different. And I think it's important nowadays because, like I said before, today's day and age, there's just way too many followers.
What are they all trying to do, these religions? I think if we explain them reasonably as humanly constructed meaning systems, I think that they're trying to make sense out of a very deep human problem, and that is the problem of suffering and death that all human beings encounter in their lives. They talk about the importance of selflessness. They talk about the importance of love. They talk about the importance of hospitality to strangers. And you know, these are values that, that not only religions can recognize as valid, but that traditions based on reason and reason alone can recognize as in some way encouraging the truth of human experience and human well-being in the world.